I've been looking at the book of Acts, and today is a beautiful sunny day, so I'm just taking the opportunity to be outside in the November sunshine and have a quick look at the book of Acts, and particularly looking at Acts chapter 9. So in this part of Acts we see Paul, who's called Saul, a real persecutor of the church, and he comes and is on his way to persecute more people. He comes down the road down towards Damascus, which is now in current day Syria, and he's really on a mission, but the mission isn't a good one. It's a very negative, destructive one. And I just wanted to read a little bit about this story from Acts chapter 9 and just highlight some of the things that come out from this chapter. So we're looking here at Acts chapter 9, and it says in verse 9, "Meanwhile, Saul was still breathing out murderous threats against the Lord's disciples." So he really is on a complete roll, and he's been persecuting, and he's out to go and find more believers who he can persecute. And it says, as he neared Damascus on his journey, in Acts chapter 9 verse 3, as he neared Damascus on his journey, suddenly a light from heaven surrounded him. He fell to the ground and heard a voice saying to him, "Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me?" Verse 5 says, "Who are you, Lord?" Saul asked. "I am Jesus whom you are persecuting," he replied. "Now get up and go into the city, and you'll be told what you must do." This very dramatic encounter that Paul has, and of course he's called Saul at that time. That's his original name. His name is changed to Paul later. It's significant that his identity of who he is very much changed as well. This dramatic encounter leads him into a completely different mission, into one to be a man of courage and boldness, but not the drivenness that he knew before, but a man of great courage following Jesus, actually no longer persecuting those who are followers of Jesus, but actually being one of them and being persecuted himself actually. And it's very clear too that this drivenness of this man, who in many ways is religious and zealous and yet misguided, is transformed into being one of a true son, one of great courage. I just wanted to mention really briefly, I was watching a program, it's a little show that's on French TV actually, and it had these guys who had this burning desire to be able to express and declare their love for a lady, and they were really feeling very awkward about it. But they go on this show, and the lady's invited but doesn't know who. The lady's invited to the show but doesn't know who is going to declare love to her, and they say their story and stuff, and then of course she's introduced to this person. One of them had beautiful poetry he'd written, wanted to say what he really felt, and another guy had been seeing this lady in the kiosk every day pretty much, and then after a year and a half was longing to be able to sort of say something, but he was very shy. And so their boldness, their courage is motivated by their love, just needing to know whether this woman loves them or not. And I thought it was interesting that the boldness and courage that Paul has is motivated first by the love that he has for the bride of Christ, for God's people, for seeing people come to know Jesus. And that love is something that is transformative, that's changed him. That he becomes a true son. He becomes somebody with great courage, and who is prepared to suffer a great deal as well. And we see the real sonship that Jesus brings about his life is one that's transformative, and he pursues not out of hatred, vengeance, violence, wickedness, but he pursues out of love. He pursues out of the great passion he has for God's bride to be in the earth, for the beauty of the body of Christ to be formed in the people, rather than just to destroy those who are followers of Jesus. So I pray today that we will be people of courage, people pursuing the purposes of God, people motivated by love, people prepared to do great exploits out of the courage of love, not out of the drivenness of anger or rage or all those kind of things, but the love of God would motivate us, would constrain us, would prompt us, would enable us to go for it, heart and soul, 100%. We will pursue God's purposes because of our great love for him, because he first loved us.